Alright, this is going to be episode 1 or the entire series in one video of my CR125 bike build. I got all the way through removing the motor, tearing it down, and splitting the cases, and then I realized I should probably make a video out of it. So what I got is a job working with the mechanic who's going to fix my bike. So I have everything packed up in the box, the cylinder, both the cases, and this is the problem right here. Crankshaft. You can see right here has a bunch of side to side, and it also, get a good view of it, has up and down. It's no good. So crank shot, and there's a little bit of a break right in the center of the exhaust bridge and the cylinder. So I'm going to have to, the cylinder is either going to get honed or replated, and then I'm also going to probably put a wrench rabbit kit in it, replace all the transmission bearings, get a new piston, all the bearings will be new crankshaft, all the good stuff there. Because there's little metal shavings in the back of the engine where the transmission is, and that's obviously no good. So as you can see, this frame is pretty dirty, so obviously I'm gonna bring that out and clean it up. And I have some bad shock roller bearings, not shock, swing arm roller bearings. Those are bad. So instead of spending money on a rebuild kit, I'm going to clean them up and see if I can get them working right. If not, I'll have to get a new linkage. Not linkage. Why do I keep saying linkage? Have to get a new shock roller bearing rebuild kit. So I'm going to find something to set this thing up on while I go out there to wash it. It's the next day after I just finished cleaning everything. It got pretty late. The camera ran out of battery and cut off, but I was done with the swing arm. Just finished it. I'd say I got the frame pretty good, pretty clean. Although today I'm going to remove all the electronics and reroute every cable and everything. Make it better routing. Remove the radiators. I'm going to leave the suspension on though. It's no big deal. I think I got in behind here pretty well too. I couldn't get everything. Maybe I'll just spray some of that purple power on it and let it soak for a few minutes and then see if it just comes right off. And I have to rebuild, or at least try to clean up and re-grease the bearings inside the swing arm pivot because they are rusted fast. The bearing pins are very nasty. Amazingly enough, I managed to find the other side of the bearing pivot, which I dropped in the grass yesterday. So now I don't have to buy another one of those. Carburetor will be cleaned up sometime. I couldn't find a new cable for the throttle position sensor, so I just patched up with a little bit of JB Weld. Alright, so I need to re-grease some of the shock up here because for some reason the seal is just stupidly small. It doesn't fit in there or anything. And it just kind of fell out. It's kind of weird. Alright, so I will get to a time lapse of cleaning up the shock now. Okay, these roller bearings inside the swing arm do look nasty. They're rusted. They look nasty, but they spin. So I'm thinking maybe a little bit of WD-40. If I can get all of that pre-existing rust and dirt out of there, they should spin freely and I can just re-grease them, because right here they're spinning pretty smooth. They're so loose in there, it almost looks like I could just yank that bearing out with my bare hands. Anyway, WD-40 and a little bit of tearing apart and greasing should get these working just fine. This bearing inside, it's starting to look about as clean as I'm gonna get it. I'm starting to see metal instead of rust. It's a bit loose in there, but I don't think that's gonna be a big problem. These, they need cleaned. They're nasty. You obviously saw in the time lapse, that's some of that grease. This grease is very nasty. It's mixed with mud and rust. This is what happens when you don't take proper care of these bearings. Unfortunately, this is the way I found them after I had to remove my engine because it blew up. I probably should check these earlier on when I bought the bike, but it didn't cross my mind. Just having too much fun on the new bike. Didn't cross my mind on how much maintenance it could possibly need. But I'm going to go do the same side for this other bearing after I grease up this, clean these. And my chain, I washed the other night. I used purple power to get the grease off of it. Could have been a little bit of a mistake because it is a rust inhibitor. And basically what that means is it could cause rust to form. And That's what's starting to happen here on the chain. I'm going to need to WD-40 it, wipe it down, then put some lubricant on it. Gonna have to wait for it to soak in. And the sprocket's getting some rust. Anyway, the swing arm and the bearings are gonna turn out sweet. I don't have to spend money on putting in new bearings. And that's also something. When you don't have enough money to buy new stuff, you don't always have to buy new stuff. You can, if you get lucky like I did with on these bearings, you don't have to buy the new stuff. You can fix it and save some money. I just happened to get lucky on these bearings. I didn't get lucky on the swing arm bearings. Sorry. I didn't get lucky on the linkage bearings. I had a blown out front. I had the blown shock bearing, and both of these in the back were rusted fast, along with the one up front right here on the back of the frame. So I have all new bearings in that. It was a big order. I had other stuff I had to do, get a jetting kit and stuff like that. So you don't always have to buy new stuff. Anyway, I'm going to cut back to the time lapse and finish cleaning and putting together these bearings. Alright, so I've decided instead of buying a new swing arm, I'm just going to fix up that little, or the chain holes with JB Weld, and then put a new chain slider on. That should do for now. I'll clean it up with a Scotch-Brite wheel, mix up some JB Weld, and slap that on there, and that should do just fine. The JB Weld patch job is done, and now I will be removing all the electronics, all the wires, and just giving them a better routing system than what I think this is. I'll probably remove the radiators too. And then that'll probably conclude it for episode 1 of this Honda CR bike rebuild. Alright, this is probably going to do it for the episode 1 of the CR bike build. All I did was, the camera died when I was putting all the electrics back. I decided only to fix little things that bugged me, because doing that whole electrical job over there turned out I didn't want to do that big of a job. It was just a nuisance. Fixed that up with a little JB Weld. Just put all the spacers and screws back in. I'm going to put some rust protection on the chain tonight, probably. Going to replace the throttle and the clutch cable. All I did, I put the CDI back on, wrapped these up in tape, redid a little bit of the wiring inside here, and installed this. That's all that was done after the camera died. Let's see. Now, I need to reinstall the radiators. That'll be probably in episode 2, or it'll be done by the time episode 2 comes around. Need to finish the engine. I lost the spring that goes for the brake return, so I'll be buying a new one of those. I was able to get both of these bearings working. This one is a little bit worse off, a little bit stiffer, but it'll work. that's going to do it. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can see when episode 2 comes out.